The idea of tefillin is certainly connected with the idea of Rosh Chodesh. The renewal of the month is related to the renewal of the moon, the renewal of kingship, and the renewal of the mind. Now, the tefillin is basically an amulet. It is 4 parshas of the Torah written on parchment with divine names. Now, amulets are not anything new in world religions, and certainly people have believed in the power of amulets for millennia, thousands of years. And the Jewish people are one of those. We were commanded, though, by the Torah to make tefillin. And the tefillin that we wear today are considered some of the best ever written in terms of their physical production. But why do we wear them when we learn? And what's the difference between wearing them when we learn and when we daven? Well, the idea of wearing tefillin when we learn, which are the Rabbeinu Tam tefillin, the idea of wearing tefillin in general is the idea of alignment. Aligning the upper world with the lower world. Aligning heaven with earth, the place that we exist in. Now, tefillin contain the statements of Moses in the Torah that deal with tefillin and other matters. And remember, we speak of the verses of the Torah not as simply sentences spoken a few thousand years ago to a prophet in the desert. We speak of them as living verses that are constantly being spoken by the Creator. Because we believe that the entire creation is being renewed every day. So when we have that idea in mind, we can understand that there's some other power operating connected to tefillin. And this realignment of the mind renews the mind, which of course is connected to Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. And every Rosh Chodesh for that matter. The renewal of the moon happens at this time, and so does the renewal of a woman's body happens on a monthly cycle. There are many monthly cycles inscribed into the Jewish calendar, and they all have to do with the idea of new life, new power, new clarity, and new understanding. So the tefillin that we wear, how do they work? They are these verses of Torah with divine names written in them, and we wear them on our head. Well, the tefillin themselves are made of leather that is properly treated, leather from a cow, with a special ink, written with special intention by a sofer, a scribe, who is very learned in the issues of tefillin, and not only tefillin, but most of all of the halachic body of Judaism. And his intention, when he's writing, is to create a holy amulet that you're going to wear when you pray and when you learn. That intention, Rabbi Nachman teaches us, enters the ink, literally, as the spiritual power of his mind, entering the ink that's on that quill. And then that quill delivers the ink to the cloth, which is lambskin or cow skin, well treated, very soft and smooth, and good for writing and absorbing ink. So what happens? This ink is a hyper-absorbent material that receives from the intentions of the author of the tefillin. And it receives from the quality of the soul that's emanating from him while he's writing. And that ink is written on the paper in the forms of the letters. Those letters are not, we believe, they are not human designed. They are letters that were given to us by the Creator. There have been several different opinions about the letters. There was a renewal of the alphabet of the Hebrew at the time of Ezra HaSofer, right, who was the great leader who brought the Jews back from Babylon. He changed the style of the writing of the letters. There was an ancient Ivri script that is still known of today but not used in general Jewish practice. But nonetheless, the forms of the letters, Rabbi Nachman teaches, correspond to God's will for communicating the essence of those letters. So, for example, a yud, the letter yud, which is like a little dot, corresponds to yad. You see, the name of the letter is inscribed with implied meaning yud, yad, the hand. Okay? The peh, the letter peh, which the word peh means mouth. If you look at it sideways at a peh, right? It looks like a mouth in profile. Right? A head actually with a mouth and even a little tongue in the opening of the side of the peh. Each of the letters has this type of implied meaning that is derived from its name. But each of the letters also has a numerical value according to its order in the Aleph Bet. The Aleph Bet is 22 main letters from Aleph to Taf. And in Kabbalah, we treat these letters as the beginning of the light and the end of the light. The beginning of revelations with Aleph and the end of the revelation with Taf. That is important because this translates into gradations of holiness. That we say the beginning of the light is the holiest. That when God first revealed himself in the world, there was a greater emanation of light. And through the generations, the light has slowly gone down until our time. That's also represented in the letters. Now, when the Sofer writes these letters and his intention is absorbed into the ink and put on the paper in the forms of these letters with their intentions, obviously there's a lot of power there. But that's only power to the human mind. How does it work that I put the leather box on my head and I think better? I pray better. I'm more focused. My thoughts flow smoother from the head to the heart to the mouth. Now, when we move from head to heart to mouth, we're actually moving through the sphirot of the tree of life. We are taking a higher light and we're bringing it down to a lower level. So when we learn with Tefillin on, we're actually getting, well, a performance enhancement amulet, right? Because if anybody has learned on a regular basis, which thank God I have had the merit and honor to do for 25 or more years at Yeshivat Nar Shalom with some very old sages of the Kabbalah and the Talmud, who I respect tremendously. When you learn day by day by day, you start to notice the differences in your learning, your clarity, your focus, your intuition, your extrapolation of meaning, your interrelations of ideas. All these are different mental functions. And you can tell when you're on your game or when you're not. Just like if you play basketball and you're on your game, or if you're a painter and it's just flowing out of you and you create a beautiful painting in an hour, where other days you could paint for 5 hours and come up with nothing. So the tefillin are this object that actually focuses the light of the Torah into the mind. And that's why halachically it has to be right here. Now, why does the tefillin have to be right here on the top part of the cerebellum? It's because this is the part of the mind where we say the third eye, the einei hasechel, the eyes of the intellect, resides. Because everybody knows when you close your eyes in meditation, what you see with inside your head is the third eye. Now, a lot of people, their third eye is not opened at all. And some people it is a little bit, and some people it gets bigger and bigger. And I like to call it the inner theater. That as you go along this path and this derech, you will see That inner eye is also a place, a tablet on which you can write.